Ozzy, stop.
All right. Welcome, everybody. This is going to be the first episode back after the Christmas break, and we want to welcome the one, the only Alan Booty.
Booty.
Probably a stronger introduction than I'm worth, but thank you guys for having me on. Greatly appreciate it.
Oh, dude, you're a killer, dude.
Oh yeah, all right. So
Oh,
I'm gonna give you props. So after meeting you this weekend, I was like, man, who is this dude over here? You turned out to be one of the coolest dudes I've met so far. So
oh man, thank you.
I
Well, we,
totally
we
different
tried to
outlook.
stay humble and we tried to stay humble and have a good time. And at the end of the day, we're just a bunch of riders too, man. That's it. So we love getting out there and mixing it up with the people who love doing what we do. So I appreciate the feedback. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I know we met a long time ago. We met a while ago at one of the Battle of the Builds, and yeah, ever since I met you, I'm like, yeah, Alan's that's the dude. That's the man.
Well, thank you. Look,
Tell
it's so weird. It's when we're at that event and I'm running it and working it, it is so hard to be who I really am because I'm just so tensed up, so knotted up. I'm worried Mike's going to tear up my own buggy, and we've got an event to run to make sure everybody's having a good time. So that's probably the least best character I have because I just try being a leadership role in there, and I'm also just terrified the entire time.
well, you can tell Angel she's done a great job.
I'll let the boss know. He keeps me in
That's
line.
it. That's it. Yeah, no, so first episode back, I don't want to dive too deep into OPE just because I know there was so much going on. I had a blast. I had a great time, met a bunch of people, talked to a bunch of people, learned some things, and saw some awesome machines. You weren't there as a vendor, but you were there as a spectator and checking everything out. So what did you see that kind of piqued your interest for this year?
Man, first of all, hats off to Shane in year 3. We've been going since year 1. I've always got a soft spot for him. He's been just a great person to me as a friend, and an internet buddy is how it started out. But just a fantastic guy. So the first year he had it, it was like absolutely I'll be there, and we haven't missed one since. But year 3 was really his best work so far. The show layout was phenomenal. Compared to the previous 2 years. I know they had some hiccups with the audio stuff, but I get it. It's loud and it's inside, but everybody's got a part to sell and a product to deal with. So, but no, overall, man, it was so well attended by just people wanting to go do what I did, and that's go just see the show and enjoy. And we didn't have any big builds to unveil or anything cool or new, and so like it didn't really make a whole lot of sense to sit at the booth, and we just love going up there and kicking it with everybody and doing something outside of the mug world and something with clean clothes on and having a couple cocktails with everybody. So that was it. And once again, it was a huge success for that. My liver's been paying for it ever since. I probably need an IV.
Aaron knows about that one.
Yeah, dude, I'm not 20 years old anymore.
You gave it a good impersonation though.
He did. He
Hey,
tried.
Hey, just so you know, I did not throw up. Unlike
Yeah, we're
some
not
other
gonna
people.
bring up that stuff. So, because we all know who did.
Oh, I'd hate to see his Uber bill. That's all I know.
Oh,
Right. Oh, that was interesting. That was a good time though. So
That was you guys. That was you guys' first time there. What was your first impression? Overall, just great experience, or
so I talked to Shane when I first heard about it. Of course, Kelly and Anthony are the ones that told me about it. And I was like, well, I've never heard this. Let me go look it up. So I looked it up and I told Aaron about it. And I was like, dude, I'm kind of interested on going. This is something that's, from my understanding, like all the big guys, yourself included, go. And I'm like, all right, we should probably go. So I went ahead and checked it out. And then I emailed Shane and I was like, hey, this is who I am. I'm Alex with a Full Send Off for a podcast. Can I get some information? We're thinking about attending this year. And he was like, if you want to attend, he goes, I got you. Come on. And I was like, well, that's the invitation I needed. And it was It was what I was expecting, but it wasn't. Like I was expecting, the expo and stuff like that. I wasn't expecting the personalities, the people, the atmosphere. The atmosphere was phenomenal, and it was phenomenal from being inside at the expo and everybody you met, and then afterwards, because I know from the outside looking in, you see a lot of those people, yourself included. Uh, John Stewart was there. Ricky and the Boss. You had Whiskey Biz. Bryce was there. You see those people, and you kind of get a little starstruck, and you're like, all right. And then, of course, we end up hanging out with them afterwards, and we're like, they're regular people, just like me.
One thing real quick. So it's so weird to hear our name associated with anything big. Like we're just guys on Facebook who like to ride, or I shouldn't say guys. I think of it as triage when I think of the Facebook stuff. But now we don't ever think of ourselves as the big guys or major players or anything like that. At the end of the day, we're customers and riders just like everybody else. But it almost scares me to be associated in those conversations, just because we don't ever want to have that. We want to be the people you want to kick it with after work, and go ride and go have a beer, and not be some kind of untouchable thing or something bigger than we are, because we're just I'm just a regular dude. Now Whiskey Biz, that guy has the biggest persona, and you talk to him and he's just the nicest guy. Like that was my first chance to really get to kick it with him for a moment, and you just see how people are real. They're real people. They are just fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I didn't. You look at his videos, and you see the big personality. You're like, wow, dude, this guy's got to be all over the place. And then you sit there and hold a conversation with him, and it's as down to earth as it can be, because he is humble. He is very humble, and I appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
Yes, indeed.
But like I will tell you what struck me weird about Whiskey. He's a lot shorter than he looks in video. So I'm going to ask.
Facts.
They were eyeball to eyeball, and I thought that dude was like 6'7" when you see him on camera.
So I thought that about Dreadbone. I thought he was a big old dude, like looking up, and I'm like, I mean, he's still a stocky dude, but I was like, wait, what? Like, it was weird. I'm like, all right, man. I thought it was some big old 6'6" something dude. So it was weird to see people in person.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, it's crazy to see the people that you've seen on a bunch of videos and stuff, have an opportunity to meet them, and you're like, wow, hey, that person's awesome, but they're also not as tall, or whatever the circumstance may be. But it's cool to see them in natural environments, get to kick it with them for a minute, for sure. So
Yeah, well, like you, because I saw you racing at the SDX Showdown out in Mud Buddies. And so from a distance, from you in person, I was like, man, this is like two different people. Like day and night. The guy in the buggy and then the guy here having a good time. Two different people.
yeah. that racer mindset, go to those events, man. You got it's almost just turned on for business at that point. And it's almost exhausting, because I can't be who I really am. I'm a pretty laid back guy. I get strung, but that race environment just gets me going and puts me in a different place. And I try and remember everybody's there to hang out and have a good time, but golly, it's just, you just kind of tunnel vision that thing, So
you still got to compete, but yeah, it's weird on person and talking to them and then seeing them from afar or on video.
Right, no doubt. That's one of the great things about OP, man. It just brings so many people together from so many different places that we all can't go ride the same park, same weekend, unless you go to Mud Nats or something of that nature. But even then, you don't get to hang out and really, spend some time with people. And my one regret from the show this year is not spending as much time inside the show, getting to visit a little bit more and going to meet some new people. And I was kind of one thing, my next goal is for next year is to make sure we spend more time inside the show and really getting to know the people that we don't. We kind of cling to those circles that we know a little bit. And you got to reach out a little bit, and I've got to do a better job of that. And I didn't do a good job this year. So, it's just something to look forward to next year, is getting to meet some more folks. So.
Oh yeah. Well, we came up with next year will be a whole little different thing for us too. Because I think for the part, we're planning, I'm planning on going again.
We've got some, I've got a few things in the works. I'm hoping to actually do a live podcast and kind of do it. You know, I was talking to a few of the other social media guys there, and I think doing a live from OPE for an hour and a half, and just as guys are walking by, you know, somebody like you, Mike LaFleur, Bryce, you know, hey, you want to step in for a minute and just, you know, say hi to everybody and, you know, just do a live right then and there. I think that would be cool.
Oh man, I think that would be killer. I'd be so down to do that, or even to watch it. You know, that would be cool.
Yeah, because I mean, you, like I said, you had somebody like John Stewart walking by and just be like, "Hey, John, can you jump into the podcast for a few minutes?" And even if it's 5 minutes to talk about the builds that he brought, cool, bring it on. You know, so and it gets them in front of the camera. It gets us out there a little bit more. You know, we're still trying to build this brand. So I've learned a lot over this past weekend talking to people. You know, we sat and talked about it, and the social media presence it's very vital in this day and age.
Absolutely. You know, it's so hard to the hardest thing as a shop owner for me is gathering content, getting content out there, and not just, you know, hey, we sell this. It's entertaining stuff, you know. So linking up with you guys to, you know, to do something like this is huge to me, and just really glad for the opportunity, because this is how we reach out to people, and it's not just, hey, we got this knickknack for sale, it's on sale, whatever. You know, getting that just entertainment content out there is really hard for us to do. So that's to have you guys around, and you guys are killing it, by the way. I've had a lot of my buddies like, man, I checked out Full Send, I listened to, you know, these episodes and this and that. I'm like, I wish I had time to listen to all of them. I haven't got there yet. We're getting close to it, but you guys are getting some reach, man. That's kick ass.
Well, we're trying. That's the goal with this, is just to get out there, because there's not a lot of podcasts like this. So, speak of you know, the social media presence, the last few videos you've had have been fairly entertaining, with the whole walking around the shop and, you know, that dog that rules your world.
Oh man. Well, thank you. That's you guys know how hard it is to be on camera and kind of produce little stuff like that. And it is extremely difficult for me because I'm not that great in front of the camera. I think I have a face made for radio. So but
Really?
doing that kind of stuff is something.
That's Alex. We say Alex in.
I got the voice. I got the voice.
Yes, indeed. But it's just something that, you know, I'm trying to get in the brand and make sure we're doing. And I've had so many people give me some feedback after those little walk arounds, like, man, when you doing it again? And part of the reason we haven't done it again is, you know, some projects just take a little bit longer. So I want to walk out in the shop like, hey, Triage is doing the same shit it was last week. But sometimes I don't feel like it's entertaining. But I think the number one rule of content is just go put it out there. Not to say don't worry about what it is, but, you know, just keep producing. And I have a hard time with that because I want it to be fresh and new. And I'm sure you guys have the same struggles sometimes, you know, getting fresh stuff, you know, making sure it's not repetitive. But at the end of the day, just putting content out is you know, a great thing.
Right.
Luckily, our stupidity isn't, you know, it's not repetitive. We can do
It's never ending.
No, our stupidity is endless.
Wow, Aaron, you're being awfully quiet.
That's because we're retarded.
Yes, yes, we are. And
you know, and it's, you know, I enjoyed the whole OPE. I enjoy what you're putting out there, Alan, as far as content, walking around the shop. You giving the girls a hard time up front is awesome. But I did notice, you know, not to kind of change subjects a little bit, but I did see you spent a little bit of time with the Segway guys.
Yes. So a couple things going on for us at Triage. One is we're working on getting our full dealer's license through Louisiana, and they're on the Napoleonic code when it comes to everything they do. So it's all kinds of hoops and ladders. We've been working on this for a year to get all our ducks in a row and make that happen. And man, we really would love to bring a brand like Segway in to our market. I think they've got some fantastic looking products. I haven't been in one myself personally, but and obviously we'd like to do something pretty wild with the new Segway Supervillain. So we really would like to go down that road, I think. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah,
I was a little disappointed I didn't get to see a supervillain while we were at OPE. They brought the 105 horsepower machines out on 35s, and they're for bang for buck. I think they're up there with everybody else.
I like them.
Yeah. No, I like them too, man. Really, really nice looking units. Who doesn't love a big Tesla screen and everything they drive these days? I mean,
Absolutely.
We're gonna have to test how waterproof it is though, but
right.
Hey, you know what? Those guys told me that they actually had one of those machines, the screen completely underwater, and was still able to read the map on it.
What?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
Great.
it's he said it's completely sealed, and then the wires are coming out of it to a plug. So it is
Damn.
a sealed unit.
Probably like a military spec waterproof plug kind of deal.
Yeah, and the first thing that popped into my head, of course, was, well, can you tie music to it? And they said absolutely. And I'm like, oh, well, that fixes a lot of stuff.
So it's got like preamp outs on it?
I don't know about the preamp amps. I know it's got Bluetooth. They had a Bluetooth speaker tied to it, so
I would like to run one.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, I think everybody was very sad that they didn't bring a supervillain, because I think that was the highlight of all the conversation I had about Segway. Was like, no supervillain, man. What the hell?
Yeah.
I'm trying to see the new.
yeah, that's it. And not only that, let's face it, a stock 330 horsepower machine, everybody wants to see that.
Oh, of course.
That's right. Exactly.
Well,
So,
so
hopefully
that supervillain, there's two versions of it. So you got the turbocharged, which is like what, 225, 230 horsepower, and then the hybrid version, which is 330. Regardless of whatever way you want to go with it, whether it's hybrid, we'll see with the hybrid, but just their turbo version, 225, 230 horsepower, that's on par with the big hitters in the industry right now.
Yeah, and price point, what was whispered around the Segway booth is going to be super competitive, even on that high end unit. So I don't think I'm at liberty to say. I don't want to ruin any. I haven't seen it put out in the press, so I won't tell it. But the number that was whispered was going to be like almost a game changer competitively with where the Pro R is placed at and the Maverick. So I'm excited about it, man. Hopefully we can get some things going with those guys, be it one way or another. And if we just got to go out and get our own before we can do anything else, we might have to do that too. So we'll see how it goes.
Hey, all I'm saying is I think there's a super villain in your future.
Well, I did say I wanted a fast machine too, so you never know.
Because that's all you were saying all weekend.
Me and Alan might have to work something out.
That's what I'm talking about.
Do I see a first customer in your future?
we love first timers. We love all the timers. We just love it.
So, I'm sure you get asked probably all the time, how did Triage Garage start?
Sure, that's a pretty simple one. So I'll give you a Cliff Notes version to an extent. So we've been riders for a long time. We've been around this stuff for a minute. I grew up on a dairy farm, so we always had stuff to ride and all that kind of stuff going on. So the way this thing got kicked off is, honestly, like I never had money to have dealerships work on my stuff. So we always had to, learn how to do it. And for some reason, there was a real lack of, good service in a timely fashion and things of that nature. The first deficit we kind of saw was part sales. So we got into that and, we're just doing a little bit of work on the side. And then COVID comes around. COVID comes around and they cancel a lot of hours at work. And the only thing people could do is go ride. And we kind of started ramping up what we were doing then. And that just kind of led into a full-time. Really, really enjoying working with people. I love people. There are difficult days. I'd be a fool to sit here and say that every day is perfect and we just love everything about it. But there's days you want to burn the building down. I mean, that's just the way it goes. You're human. And sometimes I don't answer all the questions the that people have for us the way I'd like to. But at the same time, you know, I'm human too, so I don't always get it right. But yeah, that was the big thing, is just Angel and I were absolutely fed up with our jobs. She was working in the medical field during COVID. She's an MRI tech. And I've been in oil and gas for 22 years. I was doing consultant work for a company in Covington called Loop. And I'll be honest, it just sucked the life out of me the last, 5 years that I was there. And it was like, hey, we're getting older, you know, we're in our 40s. Let's figure out what's better in life, because we're just living here and working and not enjoying it. It's just kind of a miserable existence to an extent. So, you know, we're either going to enrich ourselves or enrich our soul. And if it goes broke, it goes broke, but we're going to get out there and try something different. So, to go along with that, I would share with everyone who ever hears this, face it.
We missed that.
Yeah, it cut out right when you started talking.
Yeah, I'm so horrible. Yeah. Okay, start.
I'll just keep secret. They'll never know the secret of life. How about that?
Right.
That one thing I needed, and it's now gone.
That's one of those.
The one feedback I have is, you know, for people to go out there and chase something they love, man. We spent a lot of years working in jobs that we kind of liked, and, you know, it paid the bills, and I was making plenty of money. We were happy. We didn't have a whole lot of want, and at the same time, like, we just weren't happy. It wasn't joyful, and it made getting up and going to work every day miserable. And, you know, it's not that I wasn't thankful for the job that I had. I think that's a different thing. But we were in a place where it's like, all right, we are, you know, in our 40s, we're running out of life. So figure out something you enjoy doing, because we're just coming home miserable every day. So we moved back to where Angel's family is from, here in Vidalia, and opened up a little shop. My brother-in-law gave me a little bit of space to work with in a building that he had, and a little 2-bay deal. And man, I'm so thankful for him and my sister-in-law that allowed us the opportunity to come up here and start chasing that dream. And it's blossomed ever since. We spent about a year in that location. Now we moved into our new one that is just absolutely phenomenal. We've got 13,000 square foot under roof, and it's just a wonderful space, and we are just enjoying it. So.
Well, that's awesome. Like I said, I didn't know the whole story behind it. Like, I heard a little bit here, heard a little bit there, and I was like, man, I got to ask him one day, because that's kind of our thing. Is this was I'm tired of not seeing the things I'm looking for, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to start a podcast, and that it just go for it. Like, literally, I called both of these two yahoos up, and I said, hey, I was like, hey, just so you know, I'm doing a podcast. And they're like, all right. And here we are. So yeah, go for it. I agree. Just, if you're going to do it, do it. And I'm 2 foot in.
I will tell you, the funniest thing about Triage Garage is helping everybody get the name right. So when we first jumped on the scene, it was Triangle Garage. It was Triage, all kinds of funny things that just can't even imagine. So growing up with the last name Booty, I have no problem explaining where a name came from or how it's supposed to sound and things of that nature. But it was kind of tied to the COVID theme. Angel was in the medical field, and it just kind of hit me one day. I'm like, all right, we bring things in, assess what they need, and it's triage, so we'll do Triage Garage Off Road. And it just kind of stuck. Hindsight being 2020, maybe would have done a different name that was easier for people to say.
Oh, well, so being that, we're talking about that, so what's on the agenda for Triage? Like, so I know there's been some shufflings around at the shop. So what you got on the plate? What you hiding?
Man, I think that the biggest thing for 2024 is making sure that we maintain our humbleness. The conversations that I've heard in the fourth quarter keep centering around this, major names in the game. And I like to say, it's almost painful to hear. Like, I want to disassociate myself from that major name kind of thing. Because I just don't want to be thought of in that light. And I don't know, maybe that's a bad way to be about it, but at the same time, like this,
I don't think it's a bad thing, but at the same time, you had Gladiator, High Horse. You've put yourself out there to be noticed. So like, and that's I'm coming in from like I love the off road world. That's why I do what I do. It's only been the past few years that I've gotten into the bounty hole stuff. And you've been prevalent in that. So that's why on my end, you're up there. You are like when people think of, as far as I'm concerned, they think of bounty hole. There's probably 10 names and you're towards the top of the list.
and that's I can't tell you guys what incredible company that is. I chased Jason on Skywalker around for 2 years on a buggy that was, I don't want to say it wasn't competitive, but it was quickly outpaced when we jumped in the scene on the Turbo S, and it was stock with, like, there was a lot of things that thing needed, but we just loved going out there to race and hanging out with that group of friends and family. But to be associated with the upper echelon of it, Mike, Jason, all the people that, when you think about that stuff, you think about, and they say, oh, you're in that conversation. It's like, we are not worthy. Like, we got a cool machine. We did a lot of stuff with it, but man, those guys have been pushing the limits for a long time. And Jeff Trout and I got together on Gladiator, and he nailed the suspension, did a fantastic job for us. And, we put the power and clutching to it, and it worked out really well. And jumping at OPE last year, Mike and I hooked up, and he didn't have a ride. And it's very hard for me to own a series and racing it at the same time. Even if nobody said anything bad about it, it's still just a difficult task to get in racer mode versus event promoter mode. So teaming up with Mike to make sure the machine was out there doing what it was supposed to do was just beautiful for us. He absolutely is just an animal. He drives it sometimes harder than I would, but I don't even want to say harder than I would. Sometimes he didn't drive it as smart as I'd like him to. He broke a couple belts and did some weird shit. But
how does it feel to
teaming up
turn
with him?
How did it feel to turn over those bikes like that, though?
Oh man, absolutely amazing.
Okay,
Absolutely amazing.
not what I was expecting to hear.
Yeah, we just had a fantastic time with Mike in the wheel. He did a great job for us, and for him and I to both go out to Jeff Stroud's event that he threw in Monroe, which was a small little deal, and go out there and kick his butt while him and I both had the chance to run the machine in the same event. I'll always stick to that, because I promise he wouldn't let me live it down if he'd have kicked my butt that day. So I'll take it.
So speaking of Gladiator, I heard that Gladiator's no longer in the Triage Garage.
Gladiator has left the Triage umbrella. Josh Seals is going to be campaigning that thing next year. Josh has been on Frankenstein, a Razor XP 1000 on a Mudmasters 8-inch lift, 60% Super ATV portals, typical stuff, but just was kind of lacking in power and some reliability that he needed. It was an older machine, so he was ready to move up a little bit, and he hit me up at Battle of the Builds after he blew up his clutches at the final, and he said, "Hey, I want that machine." And I said, "Hey, let's talk." So it took a little bit to get the deal done, and they asked that I keep it under wraps for a while, but cat's out of the bag now, and he's going to have a handful for sure, man. That thing is, it's nasty. Like it's so much fun in the cab, I can't tell you. Like it's just a kick in the ass. But so his wife Mallory already races in the series. She's got Athena, the pro, matches it. So he was very familiar with the platform. He knew what was there. It was a good fit for him to keep it in the family. I think the worst thing about that situation is both of them are going to have to ride home together on Sundays, and there can only be one winner.
Yeah.
So,
That's not even a truck I want to be in on that ride.
no, taking separate vehicles to the event. So.
Right?
Yeah.
You can't let them win, because you're gonna get hell from that. And then if you beat them, you're gonna get hell from that. So no matter what, it's a lose-lose.
And
So,
I tell you what,
winner.
yeah, and I tell you what, the way Mallory was driving there towards the end of the season this past year, man, she was pushing that machine.
he's gonna have to come for her.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, she's got enough time in the cab of that big machine, and look, setup wise, Gladiator and that one are both Triage prep machines, and I'll leave it at that. But they're pretty damn similar. But yeah, she when she turned it on, she's kept coming with it. So that lighter wheel and tire package she had really shined at STX, and it really shined at the last Battle of the Build. So hats off to her for just going out there and kicking ass. And I don't even want to say because she's a girl, because I mean she's kicking more ass than dudes. You know what I mean? Like she's we think a whole lot of her. And
she was definitely fast at STX, like real fast.
Oh, like I said, that wheel and tire combo. I think she had somebody in the cab at STX, and we had a little conversation afterwards. Like, all right, no more riders, man. You got to save all you can, and you're gonna be a little faster without it. So it's been good, man. She's we're very, very proud of her, and I'm glad we're able to support her team, and we're super stoked that they're going to have two absolutely killer buggies in their household. So we're proud for it, man.
So back to STX and you running Battle of the Builds, the with the way these tracks are getting set up with the jumps and these coffin holes, is that where you see this going? Is more jumps in this series?
Yeah. So a lot of track design at Battle of the Builds falls on myself and of course the other business partners, but at the same time that's kind of one of the luxuries that I share. And my number one goal is to always try and keep it as competitive as we can. So, if there's a situation where four-seaters are running away with it, like we saw for a few years, like, all right, we have to change it up. It has to be competitive for everything that's going to be entered. And yeah, I see that format staying. I definitely see the side-by-side, 2-lane racing.
Mm-hmm. Love that one.
Oh man, the first time we did that personally was at XMC in Savannah, and man, it just went off so well. It was a great show. A lot of the XMC stuff I kind of didn't do for a while in Battle of the Builds, and Jamie Casino and I talked about keeping that stuff to XMC, and it got a little long in the tooth that we didn't do another XMC, so we just had to throw some of it in there. So like the coffins and different stuff. But yeah, it was awesome to show up at STX and see that Mike and Bobby had put those elements in there, some stuff we've kind of been through before, and it was cool. I see a lot of that staying in there. I do have a few tricks up my sleeve for 2024, no doubt. So we'll see how it goes.
Cool.
But above all, our number one goal is making sure that our spectators are entertained. We are trying to break the mold of 4-hour, 8-hour bounty hole races. We want to put on a good show. We want to show you the biggest, baddest dudes in the country and ladies, and we want to get you out of there and back in the woods, man. So that's showtime. Believe it or not, is a huge deal to us. Recovery times are a big deal as far as Battle of the Builds.
Yeah.
We want that stuff to run smooth. We don't want people sitting out in the hot sun getting miserable and all that stuff, because at the end of the day, we're spectators too. We go to other events. We go watch. We kind of understand the hangups that come with it. So.
Yeah, I think that first Battle of the Builds that we went to was up at Sabine, and it was just downright miserable. This was 2 years ago, I believe, Bruce?
I think so.
You had the girls with us.
Yeah.
And my wife ended up getting heat exhaustion. I know Bruce's girls were just miserable. It was just downright hot, and there was no escape from the heat at all. And you guys were like on the point. Let's get these bikes recovered. Let's get these guys out of here. Trying to get through these events. And I know you guys, yes, shows run a little bit longer because of, recovery time, trying to get machines out of the water or out of the hole, or, you got X amount of buggies that got to run through. Plus you're trying to do a 4-wheeler class, and it's, if the only thing that I could say coming from a spectator's point is, like, I know you guys are trying to get through it as quick as possible, but there's been a couple of times to where it's like, all right, it's been 5 minutes. What the hell's taking this guy so long to get lined up and get him down the road? So, right. But other than that, hats off to you guys for keeping these shows moving. I know STX went a little weird just because we had two different holes with a medium tire and that stupid hole that you decided to get stuck in a couple of times in high horse. But once we got up to where we were running the big tire, like other than a couple of hiccups with the timing and stuff, it went off fairly good for it being a first time show down here. And I know talking to a bunch of the locals and stuff that a lot of these guys didn't realize how big these buggies were. And they, you guys are putting down some serious horsepower and sending these things through the air. And it's really amazing to see, the stock machine, 1,900 pounds. You guys are 3,000 pounds now with these big tires,
yeah,
and just launching them.
Yeah. So first of all, STX, what a kick-ass event, man. We love going to new places and seeing new people, and to have an opportunity to come out there. And by the way, the money that was raised by everybody involved, Bobby and Silverback, man, just absolutely killing. First of all, damn good time, damn good track. Everything's not perfect. You can't build two lanes the same way. It happens.
Of course.
There's two lanes are never the same. Everybody's always got the better one. But no, we had such a good time coming over there. I can't wait for the next one. Even if I just got to go spectate, but it was just such a cool thing to be a part of. Absolutely. If you've never hosted an event, I can tell you the first one, holy shit. There is just gotchas popping out of the woodwork, whether it be parking or whatever it is. You got to have a great group with you, a great staff, and you just learn those things over time. And I know Bobby was super frustrated when I talked to him on Sunday, and it's like, man, it's a success whether you believe it or not. Like it went off, and you got it done. You didn't cancel the event or anything crazy. Like that's a success. Just keep rolling and learn from what we did this time, and it'll be better next time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was still a good time. I mean, I barely only heard a little bit of complaining, but other than that, dude, everybody loved it. Everybody had a blast. Everybody had fun. I'm like, let's go. It was good.
Well,
That's right.
And I think regardless
I complained a little bit.
You complain all the time, though, so we ignore you.
I was working.
Well, I think regardless of whatever event you put on, you're going to have somebody to complain about something.
Oh, yeah.
It is what it is. So, whether it's an expo or these battle of the builds or even the sand drags and stuff that's kind of kicking off here in Texas and with some of the people that me and Alex know pretty well, they're trying to get that stuff going down here. And you're going to have somebody complain about something. You're not going to make it perfect for everybody, but the overall experience with STX, I thought it was a great show, especially for it being a first time. Of course, there's going to be hiccups with the first show, but we'll go from there. We'll get stuff ironed out and get it fixed. As well, Alan, with the battle of builds, there's always a hiccup at every show.
That's right. So yeah, I think the biggest thing. I think the biggest thing is making sure you take note of all those little areas where the gaps were and understand how to address them on the next one. And that's one thing we do after every event. We got a rule. We don't talk about the next event until Wednesday after the event, because if you ask us all on Sunday, do you want to do another one? The answer would be a resounding fuck no from all 5 people.
I'm done. I'm through with this.
That's it.
So
yeah,
how has it been working out with you trying to race and run?
Yeah, and the only time, well, that hadn't happened at all at Battle of the Builds this year. Which when we go to other events, I'm all racer at that point, just getting out there and enjoying myself. But yeah, but to manage a machine that is racing in my event is it's a lot. And I just have to just turn Mike loose and tell him make good decisions, because I can't come over and help him do stuff. For instance, Sabine, it would have been the first stop of this year. We were at Sabine, and it was Mike's first time in Gladiator. Well, made some bad decisions about what we were going to do gear wise, and the buggy blew a belt. And Mike comes over and says, "Hey, do you have a belt?" "No, I'm trying to run an event. You guys go handle it." And lucky enough, and Mike gets it. He runs events, so him and Jeff Stroud went over there, swapped the belt out right quick, got everything sorted, and he went and made another pass. But yeah, it's a lot. Like, and it's hard to focus on anything besides the event, because the event is so important to me. Everybody's good time that they have there, I feel like it's squarely on my shoulders, and everyone's safety as well. So making sure that people are where they're supposed to be, not in the way, racers are lined up where they need to be, and all the stuff that goes along with hosting that event is the only thing I think about while I'm there. The great machine that we have and it running, somebody else needs to attend to that right now, because the people are depending on us to put on a good show. That's it.
And I know at the finals, we had scary moment there at the finals with that 4-wheeler. And for me,
Absolutely.
It was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that, as far as I'd never seen that issue arise. So what's the steps for that you all have taken to try to mitigate those issues?
Oh yeah, well, immediately after that happened, after that event, that was our first addendum to the rules. Immediately afterwards was all ATVs needed a kill switch on them. Anything you can be separated from the unit on, like a jet ski or a 4-wheeler, that thing turns into a missile whenever you leave it and you don't have control of it anymore. So that rule was made instantly public, and what we were going to do, and all the other series, obviously joined up with us, and they understood the need for it too. It was absolutely terrifying to see that happen. I can't tell you how scared I was running down there to try and jump on this machine or tackle it, or there was no good plan for how we were going to handle it. It just came out of nowhere. One other thing was letting the racers understand, like, when you fall off of it the first time, the race is over. There's nothing to win after that, right? Like, there's no bragging rights, there's no nothing. Like, when you fall off the machine the first time, it's you're done. That's it. There's no good that can come of it. So just making sure that was understood. But yeah, it was scary. Like I say, it's mandatory to have the kill switches now on all the ATVs. In the buggies, you really can't be separated from the driver compartment very well, so you have a chance to regain control if you lose control for a moment. So I always wore a harness in my buggy when I race, at any format we've been to. Some people don't want to do it. I have a bigger fear of being knocked out inside the cab, or being hurt inside the cab and can't help myself escape, versus a harness holding me back. Just my personal take. Some guys don't agree with that, and look, it's at the end of the day, it's in their hands. We don't have any rules that mandate harnesses, but when you're going through a whoop section or a big jump and it doesn't land the right way, that harness is what protects you and keeps you to be able to regain control and do what you need to do in the cab. So we got rocked pretty hard at Mud Nats just trail riding. I had a pretty bad accident, and my wife and I have been harnessed up when we're riding since then, even mud riding. I have a better chance of survival if I can free myself from a harness versus just being knocked out in the cab, basically.
Right. Absolutely. So talking about riding and stuff like that, what's the story on High Horse?
High Horse is we're gonna get some more trail miles out of it this year. Randy had it a little bit tied up this year on some TV show stuff she was doing. So and what an opportunity to get our brand on TV, and also PCF. They worked with us on the build. Turner Cycles, TCP. Everybody had helped us get that thing to where it is, and we can get it out there to perform. But what a kick-ass opportunity to put your buggy on television. So, and we have no idea what's going to happen with the show. It could be something pretty incredible, but to have the opportunity is awesome. We are looking forward to getting the High Horse back in our hands and getting out in the woods and enjoying it this year. We took it out to Sabine for New Year's, but the amp had got a little wet at FTX Showdown on the multiple passes in the medium tire, small tire, whatever was going on pit that was mega truck worthy. So yeah, we actually didn't get to go.
Just so you know, I warned everybody about that corner before anybody went in it.
Literally,
we've watched vehicles disappear in that hole.
So that's our home park, of course, and I have sat there and I have watched big. I mean, I'm not bounty hole buggies, but I've seen big buggies 44s plus, get off in that hole and not come out. So when they said that was part of the bounty course, I just sat there and shook my head and said, I'm glad I'm not running.
I'm glad you sent your brother through it.
Hey, he's the one who said he could do it.
I made it to the corner. That's all I wanted to do. And I looked. So Jeff was down there when I made it into that corner. I got to a point and I looked at Jeff and I was like, I'm done. I'm bellied out. There ain't nothing I can do here. And I had the smallest tires.
Aaron told me ahead of time that thing was going to be terrible, and he did not disappoint. That guy.
Yeah, that's a gnarly hole.
Man, it was actually.
The fact that you tried twice.
Oh, and being a newer machine like that too, we don't know what it's going to do everywhere. So it was quite a hair raising to have to run it a couple times. But we were glad to have the opportunity for sure. But now the number one goal for High Horse this year is to get it out in the woods and do what it was supposed to do and make it, I don't want to say the ultimate trail buggy, but just a trail buggy with a bunch of power. We didn't put it on a big monster tire. We've got it on a 50, and that was, so we could trail ride it and enjoy it. It's a little loud for the wife. She's still not completely hooked on it, but we're gonna bring her around a little bit. It'll be fine.
Should be all right.
That's where that super villain's gonna come into play, right?
Oh, all I gotta say is get her HVAC, and she'll be happy as can be. That's what I did. No, we're great.
Bruce, you already told me, and I had to buy her one for New Year's. So, we bought the cheapest one in the country because that's how we roll.
Oh, okay. I don't do that. I mean, me, I gotta have what I want. But no, after buying that HVAC, Alyssa's back there just bebopping around.
You did it again.
I did it. I'm gonna do it every time. She's gonna kill me for it too.
Y'all have been together for how long, and you still can't pronounce her name?
2 years we've been together, and I still can't get her name right. 2 years. 2 years. Yes.
So, all right. Well, we've been talking about all of the builds, of course. What's the schedule look like for this year?
Oh, you're gonna make me pull it up because I can't quote it off the top of my hat, but I do happen to have.
You're slacking a little bit, huh?
Let me bore everybody with looking on my phone right quick. Let's see. But we do have some really cool dates. We started too early last year. That was kind of the event we did at Sabine was a little too soon. So this year we're going to start out at River Run first. So River Run's Muddy Gras event, February 16th through 18th. We'll be there for that one. Next event will be May 24th through 27th at Tower Tracks in Greensburg, Louisiana. July 26th through 28th will be at Sabine. And this year we're wrapping up at River Run November 8th through 10th at River Run.
Well, see, that's closer to my neck of the woods.
Power Tracks, though, I'm going to take that one. That park is pretty gnarly. Like that place.
When they get some rain in there, that place comes alive, man. It's but when it's dry, golly, it's like Sabine. It'll make you hate it a little bit. But you got the HVAC, so no big deal. We'll just enjoy it no matter what.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Crank up that air conditioner or the heat. Let's go. Let's do it.
Hey, that's all right. The Talon's going into surgery, so it'll be all right. I've got some stuff going on for the Talon, so
well,
I'll still be the weirdo.
I mean, hey.
So I know you guys heard that July 26th through 28th date at Sabine, and obviously that is we mentioned earlier how hot that one was 2 years ago.
Yes.
Hopefully the plan is to do that thing in the evening again, and where it's not so miserable and hot, and like I say, quick show time. Everybody won't have to try and die in the sun because I'm pretty sure from the one you guys are talking about as well. It was absolutely miserable. So we want to avoid that at all costs. It costs a little bit more money to do a show at night, and that is fine by us because as long as it's enjoyed more, we're okay with it.
Well, that's finals was. I know the times got pushed back for finals, because we showed up. All right, it's gonna showtime. Oh no, everything got pushed back, so we were there like twiddling our thumbs for a few hours. But
Oh,
doing it when it cooled off was just so much better and easier, to me, easier on the machines.
oh, no doubt, no doubt. And the shots with the sunset in the background that Paulo grabbed, man, PC3 photography. Little shout out to him. He does a great job for us. Think a whole lot of that guy. But the shots that he grabbed, he's out there in the middle of the jump, like putting his body at risk to get these beautiful shots for us, and he killed it, man. But yeah, all that kind of stuff where it was just getting the dust was like just magical. It was good.
It was a good event. I did enjoy that one. That one was intense. That's where that's the first time where I saw the side-by-side racing where they're next to each other. That, like, it puts a whole nother level on it. A little bit more excitement because it's like an actual race then.
Right. You're just not watching one person pass through a hole. Like, that was. I wanted to do that since the first of the year, and it was just, it's a lot to try and dig two pits, and sometimes where you go dictates what you can do with the space you're given. So whenever Jeff and Simon and Austin and Randy said, okay, we can do it this time, I was, yeah, let's go.
People are racing each other, and then people are talking smack, calling each other out. So then it becomes grudge matches, grudge races. And we were sitting there egging it on. It was a blast.
Man, the hardest thing about getting the grudge race thing going is that everybody that kind of races in that circle that I know of, not only do they have such a high respect for each other, but they're also just really humble, laid back people. So to get them to try and talk shit, like, it doesn't bother Cowboy Bob a bit. But Grant, he don't care. He'll talk shit.
He don't care.
God love that guy. He's got to teach us all how it's done. And Mike, he'll get in somebody's ass a little bit, but man, the rest of them, like, it's hard to make them call out somebody and pick on them a little bit, and so sometimes you got to instigate it behind the scenes, like, hey man, it's cool, like, it's just racing, like, let's get it done, So it was an interesting element to add, though, and I think it's got a good place, and I mean, obviously you don't want to have shit scripted where it's like WWE, but at the same time, you got to push these guys along to call each other out a little bit and make some fun stuff happen.
It definitely adds another element, especially for all of us that follow a lot of these people on social media, to add that little bit right before the races. It's kind of like, all right, we're going to watch that one for sure. So it adds another element of fun.
Oh, absolutely, man. I tell you, I'm really excited for 2024. Everybody's kind of understands what we want to do. And kind of they understand the show aspect of it. They want to see. They get it. They're looking forward to challenging somebody else a little bit and kind of pushing them. And at STX, for instance, the stuff that was going on there, where you had 5 or 6 racers or 8 racers that were like within a half second of each other, like, holy shit, And by the way, you're chasing the godfather of it all, Skywalker, who, if somebody says they don't look up to Jason and that machine and what Brent and them have built over at PEA TV with it, they'd be a fool. That thing's a legend. So to be in that kind of company and be on his butt a little bit, man, that's a good feeling for sure.
Well, I don't know what y'all are worried about. It's stock.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, it was.
No, that was hilarious. Man, what do you got in that thing? I don't know. It's only like 200. Yeah, right. Okay.
Skywalker's been around as long as I can remember.
Right. I remember when Brent and Jason first put 50s on that thing, and not even seeing it in person, just Facebook watcher. You're like, there's 50s on that thing. Holy shit! Like, what are they doing? They're going to tear everything up. And turns out, the gold standard becomes a much larger tire. So it's been fun to watch that thing grow, and it's been fun to compete with them for sure.
Well, I'm sure you remember, just like we do, when 30s and 32s were huge tires.
And absolutely. I have people that come by the shop all the time that, aren't really a part of the community or understand how fast it has grown in the last 5 years. And they're just, mind blown. And I have guys that come by that have been out of the game for 10 years, and they're like, holy shit, like, this is what's going on now? Like, I don't know, man. Yeah,
so what, with especially like Alex brought up, 30, 32s used to be the big tire. With these new the stock machines that are coming from these OEMs, the 32s seem to be normal size tire now for like the Pro R, the Super Villain from Segway, the KRX, the Can-Am, that 31, 32-inch tire. What do you see it going to a bigger tire? Because I've made comments before about it seems like we're in a horsepower war right now with all these manufacturers. Who's got the biggest and baddest motor now? 200 horsepower is the norm now for these machines coming from the factory, and then you got guys, Evo, and a few of these other companies that are pushing 300-400 horsepower out of these 2 and 3 cylinder motors. And a couple of years ago, I made the comment, well, Can-Am came out with a 3-cylinder, 1 liter. That's a Geo Metro motor.
Exactly. As far as what I see on the front, man, I hate to even guess because I'm always wrong. Like just when you think things have plateaued and they're at a certain point, like something like Skywalker comes out and blows your mind. But the OEMs getting into that 32-inch range. I mean, 35s are so popular for a lot of the desert racers and even rock crawlers and stuff. I don't see the 35s being out of the norm for a off the showroom floor machine, which 35s are a huge ass tire compared to like your truck, right? We put 35s on the F2. It's like, holy shit.
Hey, I have 35s on my truck. I have 37s on my buggy.
Right, exactly. So shit, I don't know, man. Like I say, who knows? It's a wild game out there, and like I say, everybody's chasing power and big motors. I'm excited. I heard Kawasaki's got something cool coming out, so they may have something interesting. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But yeah, it's just more power.
Have you been paying attention to the Ridge?
I've been paying attention a little bit.
We're not going there because there was a huge argument in that truck about that thing.
You know what? And I'll argue it till I'm blue in the face. I really think that it's an expedition. It's going to be an expedition style buggy.
We already said that was. We argued about the price.
Well,
yeah.
Yes, we got into an argument about the MSRP on that buggy. So, but
22 to 28.
No,
I think
no way.
Yep.
No, we really start this again?
No, we're not starting that. No, I think Kawasaki's going to have something in the bag for the KRX, whether it's some type of update, either a 4-cylinder motor or something turbocharged or supercharged. That's what all the OEMs are going to. Polaris, Can-Am, Segway now.
Not all of them.
That
the OG's not doing
it. Who's the OG?
Honda.
Fuck your Honda. I'll say it. Fuck your Honda.
Go float in a river.
Hey! You leave my Honda boat alone.
Hey, we'll go back to the Honda. So, Alan, what do you think about these dual clutch transmissions? So, Can-Am's got one out. Honda's had one out for a few years now with the Pioneer and the Talon. Do you see that coming over into the Bounty side, or do you still see it stay in a CVT style transmission?
That is so. I actually had a conversation with a particular guy who has a very large horsepower Pro R type setup. I'm not going to say his name, but they are contemplating going to a dual clutch setup, paddle shifted, all that good stuff, because they're having problems at the power level they're at, which is astronomical. Putting it to the ground, right? And clutch tuning is a difficult thing. It's a hard thing. And when you have a really oddball combo that nobody's done before, where you don't even have a baseline to start with, holy shit, really, really pain in the ass. So yeah, I think there's going to be a place for it. I think you may see some course changes, and probably not this year, but over the course of time, you're probably going to see the sport evolve where it makes sense to have that flappy paddle gearbox, as they used to say. So I think there's going to be a place for it. I don't know about right now. I think they've got a lot of high horsepower cars that have great transmissions like that. So I think the power handling capability is there. yeah, I think there's a place, and I think they're going to do some things that'll be pretty damn cool with them. So,
Told you.
I heard a Top Gear reference in there. The flappy paddle gearbox.
Hey, don't get too excited. We call Aaron Captain Slow.
Why? All I gotta say is, how many Hondas do you see in Battle of the Builds? All I
Don't
gotta
hate.
say.
Don't hate.
All I can say. You don't see any. None.
there's a bunch of them parked on the sideline. I love that. I love down there like,
What you got, Alan?
You know, Alan, I stick up for you now and then, but I don't know if I'm going to anymore.
There ain't no Hondas in the hole.
you talk about some brand loyalty stuff. You know, it was really funny. For years, all the X3s were just kicking our ass in all the series, right? And they look fantastic machines and make a lot of power. Really, really good. When we started with the Pro XP, I'm like, well, you know, we know we're kind of behind the curve. We'll see how it goes. But, you know, to put them on the podium up against what is absolutely fantastic machines, to get Polaris back on the map a little bit, I don't pat myself on the back often, but that was something we really wanted to do. And, you know, not just make a Can-Am thing, and nothing against those guys, but golly, they waxed our ass for a long time.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
there
they're-
for a long time. If you didn't have a Can-Am, you weren't nothing.
You weren't shit. I agree. So to get up there and rub shoulders with the podium is just awesome to us. So.
I'm waiting patiently for somebody. I don't even care if it wins. I'm just waiting for somebody to do it because everybody says the Honda's not going to be capable. The problem is I don't have the money to do it. Otherwise, I would.
Just write that check, bro. Just write that check. You got
how
this.
about B&B Audio writes that check for
Now
you?
B&B is going to stick to that Cowie with them new tires, them ACP.
Did you order them?
Not
No,
yet.
he didn't order them.
I got some stuff in the works that I gotta take care of, but I will be getting them. Don't worry. Don't you worry. But I still don't see that Honda. You see a Kawasaki. You see a KRX in the Battle of the Builds.
Give it time. Give it time.
Still don't send it. Send it, bro. Full send off road. Let's go.
Man's got a point.
I got 37s.
See, even Alan agrees. Send it.
Pay for it, and I will.
Hell no.
Look, I'm gonna tell you, like I've been telling my kids for years, I ain't got no damn money. So
I'm broke.
I need that. I need to be adopted.
You need to be adopted. I just need a buggy daddy.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
No, I think with this, you know, the buggies being under horsepower war, and do you see the buggies getting bigger than what they are, or do you see them staying at this size, that 63-inch tire size, being the norm for the series?
You know, that's a really good question. It's almost hard to answer, but I think here's my personal opinion. Tony did a fantastic job of testing Tony Ramos did a fantastic job of testing the waters on like a just ungodly tire. Mike did the same thing. You know, they went to just a humongous. There was a tire race going on for a while. You know, while we were getting Gladiator built, so there was a lot of debate about what tire we were going to. I'm really happy we went to the 63. It seems to feel a really nice happy medium with the portals that are available to us from Super HED with the 8-inch 70% dual idlers. You know, and what was fast and what was going to be competitive. So you know, we saw a lot of guys come back to that size tire in the big tire world. So does it get any bigger? I don't know. I think the tire chasing game, and maybe I'm wrong, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that will tell me I'm stupid and full of it, but I think the tire chasing size has kind of went away. You know, just because of capability of you know, readily available parts and what they'll keep up with. So and hats off to those guys for pushing the limits, and Mike and Tony, and I'm sure there's other ones that I haven't mentioned right now that just push the envelope to see if it'll work. And you know, and not that it didn't. Tony did some fantastic things with Punisher. That thing made big power, makes big power, and looks really good, and just a cool machine overall. Who stacks portals, right? Like that was something we all talked about like that'd be cool if you did that. Well, Tony did it. Like Tony did it in his backyard. Like that guy, he gets it. I think a whole lot of him. But just pushing the game. You know, Mike, same thing. Throws a monster tire on there and goes out and has a good time with it. And we kind of dialed it back a little bit. Everybody's going back to a 63 or, you know, something kind of similar in that range, just because it's so competitive and it's still able to go fast. I think it's more about the portals that are available for it versus the machine. So
Do you see it possibly even taking another step back and going down to like a 56, especially with this jumping being the norm with these bounty holes now, or bounty races?
I have an inside belief that you're going to see a lot of things change in the tire game. We just put together kind of an all-purpose buggy on 37s to, you know, smaller bikes are more enjoyable some days. So, you know,
Yeah.
And with the dry stuff we had, you know, we kind of backed off our trail rig builds a little bit. And we do have a 50-inch tire buggy, but we got a 37 to go enjoy most of the time and really do a lot more things with more versatile. But as far as the racing, yeah, I think with the speed that is going on, I think you might see some guys kind of ease back towards the 56 a little bit. I think that is a great tire. I think you might see some pivot there over the next couple of years into a little bit faster setup, and maybe even a little bit smaller. I know there's some guys out there that have some pretty coarse designs in their mind that aren't exactly bounty holes. They're more, you know, kind of little
Motocross
racier,
style.
little jump.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, you saying that, you know, we talked after STX, and you know, there was a design that that popped into my head, and it beckoned to old school mud racing, which is the U style race. You know, you've extended the track, you've essentially made the track twice as long, but you've made all the action stay in that range. So
Right.
like I you know, the monster trucks did it, and the only reason I akin that is well, to be honest with you, when people first see these things, they're like, it's a monster truck. And I'm like, well, yeah, it is. I mean, sort
Absolutely.
of.
But way cooler in our opinion.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
I can drive a buggy. I don't get to drive a monster truck.
I get to
To
keep
me,
a buggy
that,
at my
you know,
house. I have a monster truck.
Right. It's hard to keep a monster truck in the garage in the backyard. That's for damn sure.
So
Yeah,
like
How do rules work?
I would just like to see I don't know, like the big tire's cool, like personal opinion. I love the big tire. I think it's awesome. But with the speed that's coming around, like really with the horsepower, Aaron keeps bringing it up, the horsepower war. I would like to see it kind of get back to the old school. You know, we all when we first got into Bounty Hole, when I first started watching Bounty Hole, it wasn't who could make it through fastest, it was who could make it through. And I think some races, not all, but some races have kind of lost that element. And I'd like to see a little bit of that to come back.
See, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one. It got it. Go ahead, Alan.
I totally agree, and I think there's a place for the more difficult elements of a course. So remember what I said earlier. The number one goal in my mind when we build a track is to equalize things. So I think you will see some elements of an older school setup in some of the stuff you will see this year. Now, it is also very difficult to build a course, you know, the way exactly that you have in mind, but I think you'll see some elements coming back that have a little bit more old school feel to it as far as our stuff. But I do agree with you. I think there's a really cool place for the older school kind of average Joe stuff. And speaking of average Joes, there's a new series. It'll be a series this year from what I understand, but Shane Carey over at Into Mud he's got the Average Joe's series, and it's, you know, it caters to a smaller tire. I think he's got a really good thing going there. I'd almost love to have it for like a pro-am deal to battle the builds, you know, to where, you know, people get some experience and then kind of jump up to a larger tire and come in a professional series, if you can call us that. I think that's how we like to think of it. But yeah, I think there's a place for the old school elements, and I also think there's a place for smaller tires in the world for sure.
Yeah, I agree that y'all are more. I don't want to say more. I would agree that you're a professional series because I want to see this go and progress to that recognition that you see. Because I mean, if you look back way back when monster trucks first got started, this is exactly how it was. It was some guys who got together and decided to build bigger, more horsepower, bigger tire, more horsepower, bigger tire, and then you were at a county fair and people liked it, and then you were at the next state over. All right, they liked it, and then it just progressed and progressed, and I feel that this is where it's going. That XMC, I wish I could have went. I really do, because just from the videos that I saw, it was nuts. It was crazy, and the show was phenomenal. But I think it was
Man,
too much too soon.
well, yeah, that was almost lightning in a bottle to an extent, but man, to be that bottle and that lightning, holy shit, it was incredible. To race that event, to help Jamie put it on, and hats off to Jamie for calling it and let me and Jeff and Simon and Chad and a bunch of other great guys help him out with it. Just once in a lifetime experience, I'll call it that. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully we get to do something again, but yeah, just electric. We had 4,500 people there, and they had to close the gates and all this crazy shit. It was just unreal. And if any racer left there and told you they didn't have the time of their life, they're lying about it now, because everybody that night was having the time of their life. So it was incredible.
Like I said, I want to see this sport progress to that on a larger scale. It just, at that point in time, it was a great show that I got to see, but I think it was too soon. Like
Right, right.
if he was to do that, if Jamie was to put that together in the next year and a half, it'd probably be a world of difference on, I guess, the media coverage.
Right.
Just
Well,
what Randy and them have done with their show that they're working on.
right. Absolutely. And it's difficult to be first, and it's a hard thing to do. But looking back, obviously there's a lot of things we'd have done differently, and we probably would have never had that lady on the mic that said extreme 9,000 times, but it's become a little joke between me and 5,000 of my closest friends who heard it that night. So there's a lot of things we'd have done different, but yeah, at the same time, I think it progressed a lot with what we expected as racers and what we wanted to do and the environments we wanted to do it in. It was terrifying in one breath, and at the same time it was absolutely incredible. So yeah, and I don't want to say it was too soon. I don't know if it's ever a wrong time to try something new and try something different. Sometimes they fit, sometimes they don't, and that was a pretty big fit. And we were able to take some of that stuff we did there and wrap it into the events that we're doing now. And it's been a good thing. But yeah, you throw that thing together, this year, it's been a year and 3 months. But you throw that thing together now, and you're right. I think you end up with a lot better coverage on it. People know what to expect, and yeah, I think it'd be just even more of a rocket ship than it was the first time. So
yeah, I'm excited to see what this year brings, especially for y'all with the Battle of the Builds. And your garage. Like, I can just see with what you've built with Gladiator, what you've built with High Horse, and the expectations that you have for yourself. I can just see the sky's the limit with y'all. So like, I'm happy for you, and the attitude that you have for this is phenomenal.
thank you, man. I appreciate it. We did have a funny comment that we heard in November. Well, I say a funny comment. So somebody had mentioned, Angel, you guys are killing it. Y'all are at the top of the game. And I looked at Angel later on. I was like, if this is the top of the game, we're fucked. we got
yeah. If that was the top, you're definitely not on a backhill slide that you know of.
We definitely want to be the couple that rest on their laurels, and man, she works as hard to make all this stuff fly. We've got a social page that Kane Act Rights is kind of our riding group that is developed in a whole bunch of people over the country. And that place was solely created so that someone always had someone to ride with, believe it or not. I had been through different phases of riding or different hobbies, and oh, my buddy got out of it, so I don't do it anymore. So the sole creation of the Cane Actorites on Facebook was so somebody had somebody to go ride with. And you know, you always kind of had an idea of what was going on and all that kind of stuff. So, by the way, if you're not a member of Cane Actorites, go over there and add yourself and jump in there, because we do all kinds of fun stuff. We have some giveaways from time to time. It costs you nothing, but come over there and see what's going on. But the number one goal was to make sure people had someone to go experience this hobby with at all times. Like it's never fun when you've got a $20,000 machine sitting in the garage and all your buddies have quit riding. Well, if you still loved it, well, let's find the next 5 or 6 people who are doing the same thing you love doing. So,
Well,
Hey, as a matter of fact, I just joined.
I ain't gonna lie.
Every time that we've been out riding, you know, whether it's been just me and Alex or Bruce has been along with us, and we've done group rides together. We've always ran into just great people out on the trail, and they're just out there to have a good time, you know, and you stop and have lunch or have a couple of trail sodas, and it's, oh, hey, how do you like those tires on that buggy, or what lift you running on that thing? You know what I mean? And, oh, you chopped your cage. That looks cool. I've never had a bad experience at a mud park. And that's like the biggest thing, like telling family members and stuff. It's like, oh, well, I got this buggy and we go out and ride the mud. It's like, oh, you guys are a bunch of hillbillies. You go out there in the woods and get drunk. You can do that in a pasture somewhere. Well, it's not the same.
I'd say.
So, but
I don't meet cool people in a pasture. I meet cows in a pasture.
I used to, I worked with a bunch of engineers when I was doing consultant work, and they always say, why do you guys do that? What are you doing? What's your hobby? And it's like, you know, why do you go get drunk in the woods and do these things? And, well, we don't always drink, whatever. But the big thing, hey, it's like, you know, you've got recoveries and you've got maps and you've got puzzle solving and you've got mechanic work. Like, it's this full scale thing that goes on every weekend where you just got to solve all these problems and scavenger hunts. And
you want to see ingenuity? Break something on the trail.
Yes,
that's it.
Trail repairs.
That's it.
I have held suspension together with zip ties and ratchet straps.
Ratchet straps.
Oh, you've never been happier that someone had that stuff or you had it, that it got you back home.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, you know what? I bought a trail welder for that reason. So I now have a little trail welder that we can run off a generator, so we're good.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I look. I keep a Harbor Freight 110 under my my bus when we go to parks and stuff, because that little 110 machine will get you out of a bind, fix a tie rod, all kinds of little fun shit. So.
Yep, that's it.
It's happened.
All right. It has happened way more than once. Matter of fact, it happened. It happened at Mudnats. Somebody blew up a portal, and then Battle of the Builds, I lost an A-arm first day.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Cruising down the trail, and it just fell apart. Yeah, things happen. Let's just say.
You know, you mentioned something earlier. You said, I've never had a bad time at a mud park. Well, you know, that's actually the truest statement I've ever heard, because all right, my worst trip that I've had in a side-by-side was at Mudnaps when me and my wife flipped in our Red Pro. And just a really bad freak little thing that was going on. We had just got there, hadn't rode but an hour, and ended up putting it on the lid, and really could have got hurt very, very bad. But the guys over at Dig Rig that we camped with, Cameron and Dane and that little group, they actually had my buggy put back together the next morning before I woke up, enough that I could ride the rest of the trip. You know,
yeah.
There just a bunch of, like, before I even woke up. Like, that's the mud community to a T. So I've been to bad football games, I've been to bad vacations, but I've never had a bad time at a mud park, even on that worst experience.
Nope.
So
well, and it's funny too, like, you know, like you said, you know, coming back and getting done doing an event is, don't ask me about it on Sunday, or don't ask me about it on Monday, because I probably don't want to do it again. But, you know, a week later, you look back on it, I had a great time. Minus the little mishap, I had a great time.
100%.
And it doesn't matter who you are, what you are. You can even not speak the same language. help these people. We didn't speak like any kind of the same language, but we understood enough to get each other out of the mud, and it worked just fine.
Well, look at that. Look at that couple at Creekside that, well, technically it was the first time we met you, Bruce.
Yeah.
They said they were stuck for like 6 hours.
Yes. And all y'all came to help. All of y'all.
Literally all of us were like, we got like 6 winches. We will get you out.
Yep.
We will figure this out. And we didn't leave. And we were, matter of fact, Aaron and I were on our way back to the trailer to load up to go home.
Yes.
And we stopped and continued to help out.
Steering rack is still stuck around to help.
Yes. That was everybody stopped to help these people. We didn't know. I didn't know these people. I mean, like I said, I just met you like 10 minutes earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody stopped to help.
I think everybody had a great time except for that guy's wife.
Oh, yeah. No, except for that guy. His wife was going to kill him.
His wife was pissed.
She was mad.
The kids were having fun. Yeah,
that was a nasty hole too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I just slipped into it. Yeah, you don't get stuck like that just sliding into a hole.
Yeah, you were in the middle of the hole. Yeah.
So, well, Alan, I really do appreciate you coming on. Like, I know we talked about a while back about getting you on here, and we really do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You want to let the listeners know, where they can reach you at as far as Facebook, social medias and stuff?
Sure, absolutely. First off, www.triagegarageoffroad.com is a small sampling of our offerings, but we're located in Faraday, Louisiana. Facebook is where you can find most of our marketing and who we are and what we're about and all that good stuff. But yeah, man, catch us in the woods. More importantly, that's where we're out there doing our best work. I'm my happiest, and man, just come make a ride with us one time. Like I say, join the Cane Act Rides. That's our social club. It's like I say, it's a good time. We're always cooking at the camper. Angel keeps everybody well fed. We keep crock pots out all the time. So if you're ever at a mud park and hungry, swing on by. We probably got something to hook you up with. But yeah, man, catch us in the woods. Like that's where I want you to meet me at. I want you to come see about me in the woods, and let's catch a ride together.
Or OPE.
Or OPE.
There you go.
I'm excited for next year already. I know it's only a week past, but I'm already like, all right, what can we do next year to make it a little better?
That's indeed. Well, man, thank you guys for having this format, first of all, and thank you guys for inviting me on. I'm not I don't think of myself as any kind of buddy you'd want on a podcast, but at the same time, man, I'm honored to be here, and thank you guys for hosting this, and thank you guys for putting together a good program. So, looking forward to what you guys are going to do in the future. So, well,
we appreciate it, sir, and you have a good afternoon or a good night, and tell Angel we all said hi.
I'm going to go fix me another toddy, and we'll see you guys next time.
Mine's empty.
Thanks, Alan. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Thank you guys so much.
All right,
thank you.